Right, okay, let's start. Hey guys, do you want to see me do the intro? Do you want to see me do it again? I
Oh
just
my
did the
god, it was
intro.
so quick. It was
It's
so quick.
it's like I'm the Flash. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Filmian podcast. I'm slowing down specifically so that you can all hear me without being like inside the Speed Force because I'm going so quick because I'm the Flash. I'm not a terrible person. I'm Xander from the Filmian podcast, and we're here to talk about the Flash this week. Hamish and Joe with me. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello, today we're talking about Flash Gordon, a classic film.
Absolute banger of a movie.
Sam Jones.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, we are here to discuss the Flash
Why, unfortunately?
Listen, we'll get
because I know what's coming
We'll get
from
to it.
Xander,
We'll get
and
to
it's like I enjoyed the movie, but like, I know what's
we're
coming.
we're gonna discuss it at length. We're gonna do a non-spoiler review and then a spoiler review. But before we get to this movie that has to be talked about, has anyone got a moan for me?
I have a
Anyone
gigantic moan.
want to tell me a moan?
I have a gigantic moan. I nearly swore, but I'm trying to be better with it.
It's impossible to keep out this moan.
It's really bit of bleep in there. I did it silently. So my issue is that these like new comic book movies that are coming out, and series as well, because Marvel is currently its biggest offender, is that it's right. Secret Invasion. The writer for Secret Invasion has come out, was told not to read a single Secret Invasion comic when writing the show.
Yep.
Why? Like, Secret Invasion is one of the most influential comic events that has ever happened in Marvel. And even up till like today's comics, it is still affecting how characters are written. Not only am I annoyed, but that they've boiled such an influential event into 6 episodes, because it's WandaVision all over again. But why are you naming it something that it's got little to no ties to? I am I allowed to spoil things in this mode? Am I?
For the first episode,
Yeah.
do what you want.
Awesome. Right. It's made very clear, right? We discovered that in Secret Invasion in the comics, the UK has an equivalent to SHIELD named MI13. MI13 is this massive superhuman spy division, and it's all very fancy. But it's made very clear that in this rework of... It's not a rework, this pretender to the fucking show, that they have no...
Traitors to the throne!
The show is a scroll. It's a fake. It's false. They bring in the UK. They name drop a character like Union Jack. Again, a massively influential Marvel British character. And then, who's played by... Oh, what's her name? Joe, help me. Olivia Colman. She's the descendant of him. And when asked if she knew anything about that character, she said, "No, I don't know a thing."
To be honest, this could all be a
I
ruse
think-
though, because we just have to remember there's 5
It
more
could be a
episodes. We've only just
gigantic
had
ruse.
episode
However, I'm made
a
worried
ruse.
by the fact that it's name dropped that they are working for MI16. Thus, they've not read a single comic. The UK has such a gargantuan role to play in the Secret Invasion comics, and it's so obvious that they have done nothing when it comes to research. Come on, guys. You know better. We know better. Stop. Call it something else. If you're not going to call a white Volkswagen a blue Ford. You know?
I do.
I know you do. But it makes no sense calling it a story that it's not. And especially it's not inspired by. If anything, it does disservice to the original writers of that story. Whenever you produce a TV show which is dog.
Although we haven't had the full series yet, so we don't know.
Jody, get the fuck out of Marvel's butthole. Christ.
I'm being
Oh,
fair to them. We've
oh,
said
They're trying to put your people out of business, bro.
That is
Artists.
very
People.
true. Very true.
I've got a moan that's sort of on the
Very
same.
smooth
Is it the
segue.
same thing that I just mentioned?
It's a very smooth transition.
Sort of, but it's more of a broader thing. It's because there are two things that come under it.
Go for it.
It's human beings being treated terribly in the film and television industry.
Only hot takes on the
first
Filming
of all-
podcast.
First of all, coming off from Hamish's moan, you've got the Secret Invasion titles that are fully AI generated, which is one, it's just lazy. 2, it lacks soul. 3, it's not creative. And 4, it's AI bad because it steals from other people's existing works and puts it into that. And also it means that some artist doesn't get a job, which is absolutely terrible. A human could literally create that themselves, because the reasoning behind it was, oh yeah, because they're like in Secret Invasion, the world is fake and you don't know who to trust. We thought an AI titles would really fit that. But
Cap.
humans could make that. Humans could recreate
Cap.
that. You know, Thanos doesn't exist, but they created that with CGI, didn't they? They can create a fake sort of title.
Thanos isn't real.
I
No,
really
sorry,
did think they got
sorry.
a gigantic purple man in.
I
Fantastic
thought it was perfect casting. That's crazy,
No,
bro.
no.
I
No.
completely agree. Marvel is like packed full of amazing artists. They're a comic book company.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
They have no
It's, you know,
excuse.
comic. and also, similar to Marvel, it's come out today that the artists on Across the Spider-Verse were really overworked,
Yeah.
and they've been coming out with complaints and how they're like, yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse is not coming out next year. There is no way it is. And they were overworked, having 11-hour days, having to do like 5 versions of shots at a time sometimes. It shouldn't be the norm to treat your artists and the people that work for you like shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You know
That thing about Across the Spider-Verse I saw earlier, and I was just like, this really sucks, because now I've like, it's gonna like it's
sort of tarnished.
an amazing movie. And it's gonna have a little asterisk next to it. You know,
Amazing movie. People who made it did not enjoy making it. You know?
yeah,
What I will say for Across the Spider-Verse is that it's very obvious that it was a passion project for the artists. There's so much time and effort that's been put into like the alternate designs for everyone. I follow some of the artists on Instagram, and they're now uploading all these like unused designs and such. And it's clear that there's so much love and passion put into it that I don't want to tarnish it by some sort of like corporate greed. I want to still let them have their podium, because the animators really shone in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it is testament to them that even under these conditions, they've created such a beautiful looking film.
Yeah.
And they have put so much work into it. But it is just a shame that.
But
it wasn't done under good circumstances.
screw the higher ups, you know.
Yeah, didn't Amy Pascal was saying, you've come to make a movie, you should expect this sort of thing. And it wasn't exactly those words, but it came across as like really like patronizing.
that was in response to one of the specific quotes about being made to do like 5 versions of a shot, or like 5 amendments to it or whatever. And it's like, okay, I get, like, you know, if you're making a live action thing, you might have 5 takes of something, or you might, like, there's people like David Fincher or Stanley Kubrick used to do hundreds of takes of things. And yeah, that's a lot of work, and yeah, sure, that's part of the movie making process. You might have to do something a couple more times just to get it right, but it's the fact that they're not being paid enough to do it, and they probably like weren't paid as much for each amendment they were made to do. And the fact that they were working 11-hour days, like, it sort of adds up. So yes, that is part of the movie making process. You do something, it's not quite right, you have to do it again and do it again, and that's okay. But it's when you stack all those other things up against it, it's like, maybe cut him a break. Maybe pay him a bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the film was meant to come out earlier, wasn't it? So it's a good job that it didn't, because otherwise that would have been hell for the artists.
Yeah, absolutely. Two very good moans and very related to the movie podcast. Well done, guys. I've got a moan that is
Hey.
completely unrelated because we're allowed to. It's our podcast.
We are.
We can do what we want. My moan is that today was my last day at work. I've had to leave my job because I am moving home and out of the city I'm currently in, and I'm going back to move in with my dad. And it's listen, I love my dad. This is not against him at all, but this sucks. And today was not a fun day. I've had to say about some people that I really care about and that I've spent a long time getting to know, and it's just a sucky thing. So my moan is that life in general sometimes has sucky moments, but don't let that deflate you, because there's always silly things like The Flash to talk about.
I'll be able to say don't let that deflate you, because you have weekly episodes of the Filmian podcast to look forward
My
to.
mental health hinges on the Filmian podcast.
That's my moan. What I will say before we get into the main topic, I want to take a moment here, before I forget, to mention that we are now back on YouTube. So,
we are.
all of the episodes, the audio files, are now up on YouTube to watch along, and there's a fun little visualizer every week, and the posters now are available on Spotify to watch with to look at with each episode, and so each episode will look unique. Starting from this week, all the episodes on YouTube will come out in order. For some reason, they've all been coming out in the wrong order, but I'm trying to fix that. So if you go to our YouTube channel, the link will now be in the description. It's Filmian Podcast. Look for the same logo, and you can now listen to these episodes on YouTube if you are so inclined. I think we're going to try and put some clips on there in the future. Now that I'm moving home, I've got a bit more time. I'll try and edit some things down so you've got slightly smaller clips on YouTube as well. Things are moving forward, so yeah, check out the YouTube channel. It's in full force, and yeah, hello Joe.
The posters will also be the thumbnails. You'll get to see
Exactly, and they look
Beautiful.
sick. So yes, make sure you check out that. The link will be in the description, and thank you in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
And as it's on YouTube now, you can illegally download it and edit it to your.
If you want any out of context
No,
clips
don't
of
do
us,
that.
then feel free, go at it.
Download and edit. Yeah. Please don't.
Joe
please
is
don't.
the perfect out of contexter.
Download it all. Put it through an AI thing. Capture our voices and make a whole new podcast.
Oh my
with us.
god,
It's not us.
we could.
It's our voices.
No, because I could. No, because I know the AI
Maybe
that they
cut
use
that,
for
because
that.
people might do
I
that.
know the AI. Joe, I can make you say anything I want. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I know what I'm gonna do.
Oh no.
Gonna make Joe say some heinous things.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Heinous crime.
Shall we move on then, guys, and talk about the real reason we're here, which is friendship. Friendship's great, and The Flash is also a movie. It came out.
It's pretty good.
It came out last week. We all went to see it, and we have some thoughts. Before we get into the thoughts of what we thought of the movie, I'd like to take a moment and go through how long it took us to get here. So I have a little timeline, and I'm going to go through this. So, this movie was first announced in July of 2013 at Comic-Con,
Oh, bloody
along
hell.
with Batman v Superman. And it was announced with a 2016 release date. It was going to come out before Justice League. That was in July. That's 10 years ago. Then
So they didn't keep to their original release.
they
date
did
then?
not. So then in October 2013, Ezra Miller was cast. That's also 10 years ago. The studio then set its eyes on James Wan to direct. Obviously, he exited the project and went on to make Aquaman. Phil Lord and Chris Miller started writing The Flash in April of 2015. Then, in October 2015, Seth Graham-Smith took over writing the script. And in June 2016, we finally got a proper director on board. It's Rick Famuyiwa. I've butchered your name.
He did some of the Mandalorian episodes.
And then in January of 2017, we got a new script written by Joby Harold. And then in July 2017, The Flash became Flashpoint with another new script. In January of 2018, John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein flirted with directing, and they went on to direct Game Night and Dungeons and Dragons, and they actually have story credits on this movie.
Ooh, okay.
In March 2019 to July of 2019, Ezra Miller tried their hand at writing with Grant Morrison, Christina Hodson, and they all write their own version. Finally, in July 2019, we get the director that sticks with the project. It's Andy Muschietti, who directed It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. In 2020, in August, Michael Keaton is announced as he's returning. Sasha Calle joins as Supergirl in February 2021. The cameras finally start rolling in May of 2021 for this movie. And then you've got the whole saga with Ezra Miller kicking off around like June, July, August of 2022. And then somehow the movie is now released in, what was the official release date? Over here it was the 15th of June, 2023. And it has come out with a resounding meh. All that time, all that effort, all those creatives, and we've come out of it the other end, and we're just like, I'm not gonna remember this movie. I'll be honest, guys.
I'd love to like find out about what all the stories were for these different scripts. Because I'm presuming not all of them were, whatever the story of this one is. I don't want to give spoilers.
I want to point out, this sounds deathly like the Michael Bay Transformers universe, when they're like, we've got a writer's room. We paid all of these Hollywood writers, all these creatives to come in, and they all like sat down for they made a massive book for the lore. Then there's only ever been one copy made, and Hasbro still has it, and it's all a bit crap.
The fact that it's taken this long to get made and get released reminds me of a film we watched a couple of weeks ago, Morbius. That was also in development hell, took ages to get released. It came out and it was like, oh, well, this is kind of bad.
And has a questionable actor.
And has a questionable lead actor.
I was about to say, now we have Craven coming.
Oh, are we going to mention that trailer? He bites a nose off.
He does. Tasty.
He gets his powers from lion blood, because that makes
Let's
sense.
go!
Scrum diddle.
We're back in the Sony universe!
Diddly umptious.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait for that shit.
I think it has something to do with Spider-Man.
Oh, shut up. People pointing at the trailer and being like, there's spiders in the trailer!
Yeah. I love that, man. You know you're in a Sony movie when there is mild references to Spider-Man. Because do they even technically own him anymore? Live action?
Don't.
They can't do anything! Ah! It's amazing. I love it. But The Flash. So it is currently sat on a meh 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. With an average rating of 6.3 out of 10. And the audience score is 84%, which is... It's fine. It's good, but it's not like... 84% audience score isn't like amazing. And it's got 7.3 on IMDb. Who wants to take the reins first on this? What are your initial thoughts?
Oh, I would love to.
Go on, Joe.
So... going into this film, there was the knowledge that, one, we have the questionable actor, which, we do not condone any of their actions. I think that should be mentioned.
Yeah.
Only the hot takes on the
That should be a given. That should be a given. Yeah. So, going into this, there was the, questionable actor. People were saying that the CGI was bad and it wasn't a very good film. And also there was the knowledge that, the DC universe is being reset after this. And... it's basically going to be reset in this film. So we didn't have a lot of hope for the film. And also we'd heard little tidbits of other stuff, which was like, not good. So I sat down, and I found myself really enjoying it. And I turned to you at the end, Hamish. I was like, I actually quite like that. I had a lot of fun watching that.
So what you're saying is you
like-
totally agree with Tom Cruise's review.
Yeah.
Right, this is. Can we mention this? This was so weird. What a weird way to market a movie by showing it to random celebrities and paying them money to say it was incredible on Twitter. That's so weird because they got like a weird scatter grab of celebrities. They got Tom Cruise, Stephen King, Terry Crews. Like,
Do you want to hear what Tom Cruise had to say?
go on.
He said it's the kind of film Hollywood needs right now, and proceeded to personally call, I believe, the director, and yeah, and say how influential the movie could be.
That's the thing, though. This is I like the film, like, because like,
Why Tom
okay,
Cruise?
I'm not going into spoilers, but the first and second act are so good. It's slightly let down by the third act, but I had so much fun. Like, there's the I don't want to give spoilers, but there's an action scene in Act 1, which is great, and there's I'll do an action so you know what I'm talking about.
So the opening scene with Ben Affleck.
No, the other bit.
He's
He's
in the trailers.
With
The bit with the microwave.
the microwave.
Everyone
That
has
scene.
seen this on Twitter, Joe. Everyone has seen this on Twitter.
The baby shower. That is such a cool... Like, the CGI, questionable, of course. But I had so much fun, like... I want to explain it later on, because, it's spoilery. But I had so much fun. And then they're like... Ezra Miller... We keep saying this. They're questionable. But... I enjoyed them in this film. This is probably the most I've enjoyed them as the Flash. And, there are two Flashes in the trailer. They interact with each other. Those are some of the best scenes of the film. Just them, like, riffing off each other. It's so fun to watch. It's genuinely funny. I literally went like that in the cinema, clapped and laughed.
Joe claps
at
when
one
the plane
moment.
lands.
I do. I'm like Tom Holland.
When-
It's creative. I think it is very creative. There's some nice bits in there and references. It is slightly let down by the third act. The CGI is ropey at times, but I did have fun.
Hamish, do you want to go?
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So, as the resident film me in gigantic loser when it comes to the world of comic books, this movie, quite like my Moan, it has the idea of a flashpoint. So Barry runs back in time, changes something, he saves his mum, and the world changes because of it.
Yeah.
We get that. However, this movie is, if my memory serves me right, there is one thing which is vaguely similar to anything that happens in the Flashpoint story. Aside from that, it's all different. It's all completely changed. And oh my god, I hate it so much. I'm such a gargantuan fan of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And I know some pretty avid Flash fans who are not. But I'm a massive fan of Flashpoint. And they have the actors to do the initial story. They have the actors. They have the talent. They won't... It's not a spoiler. We all know that Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot are in this movie. We all know that. They have the fucking actors to do what happens in the Flashpoint story. Why didn't they do it? Why are you breaking things? Why are you changing things? It's not broken. You don't need to fix it. Like, just adapt the bloody book. The book that is the best seller. Like, what was like a bestseller, the book that brought in the fans, the book that is bringing fans to the cinema to sit and watch a movie called Flashpoint based on the book named Flashpoint.
It's
Why are you
actually
changing
called The
it?
Flash.
Why are you changing it? Like,
Actually, no. On the title card, it said it was called Flash.
It just said it was called Flash. Yeah, I thought that was weird.
I was so confused. I just remembered. This is slightly off topic, but wasn't it rumored that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was going to play like an older Bruce Wayne?
They cast him as Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman, and
Yeah.
seemingly saying, "Yeah, we're gonna do Flashpoint at some point," and we got fucking Negan to do this. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm down.
For those who aren't aware, in the Flashpoint book, Barry runs back in time, and so much has changed. Bruce is the one that dies in the alleyway, and it's his dad that becomes Batman. Flashpoint Batman is a scary motherfucker. He shoots people. Gotham is so much worse. Somehow it's worse than it is. Martha Wayne becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
It's so like psychologically like twisted, and I love it. Why didn't we get that? What is wrong with you, DC? Like, you're actively like spitting in your own coffee before you drink it. Like,
see, that does sound very cool, but at the same time, I'm not upset because I still like what we got.
Okay.
They can do this as a separate thing if they're building up the DC universe on its own again.
Look,
build up to that.
Like, in my own opinion, what we got is fun. It's fun, and I appreciate it. I said this to Joe when I came out. I was like, it's not what I wanted from a Flashpoint movie, but I appreciate it. And I think it would be a much better movie if it wasn't seemingly, quote-unquote, based on Flashpoint. I think it would have been a much better thing, because whenever you say Flashpoint, for instance, the entirety of Flashpoint's background conflict is that Wonder Woman and Aquaman are tearing Earth apart. The Amazons and the Atlanteans are going to war, and they quite literally wind up nuking the planet. And it follows these like surviving humans who are just trying to get by. And Barry realizes just how screwed up the world is. Not that Zod's arriving and, oh no, I guess, like, here's Zod, that one guy that realistically the Justice League can or even like two members of the Justice League can deal with.
Yeah.
Like, it just, when Barry was like, I've created a world with no metahumans, it's like, oh no, except you, the guy who runs at like above light speed and can time travel and just like, I don't know, delete someone with the flick of your finger. Like, get a life.
Okay. I went into this and I saw so much of this movie on Twitter, and I was like, oh, we weren't going to talk about this. We were going to move on and talk about something else this week. But I saw it and I was like, okay, we have to talk about this, because there are so many things in this movie that I'm shocked at. Either in that they are like genuinely gross, or like kind of good. This movie is kind of good. I agree with Joe. I think the first third of this movie works so well. And
It's fun.
Ezra Miller is having a lot of fun. And, like, they clearly had a lot of fun in Hawaii as well, but that's a separate thing. They're really good on screen. They're a great screen presence. And they're clearly funny. Like, the interactions between the two Barrys are so good. And you can see how one of them is very much like the one we got in Justice League, a little more immature, and the other one has grown a bit. And you can see that. And I'm like, okay, I like this. Also, like, most of the stuff we see in the first two acts are not in any of the trailers. Everything from the third act is in the trailers because they wanted to show as little of Ezra Miller as possible. And I get that. From a marketing standpoint, you don't want that. But also, like, you kind of have to go into this knowing that this 2.5 hour movie, around an hour and a half of it, you're just spending time with two Ezra Millers. So
I think it is testament to the film, though, that you kind of, that sort of thought that, you know, the stuff they've done, it sort of switches off because you're enjoying their performance so much. Like, I know it sounds bad, but I didn't mind watching them on screen
Well, you kind of
because
got
I enjoyed what was going on.
you've kind of got to shut it out a bit. Like
Separate the art from the
yeah,
artist.
it's like you can watch, you can watch Seven still, and it's got Kevin Spacey in it. You've kind of got to, you've kind of got to make that mental block. Okay, like I'm watching a character now. I don't, it's if they come out with a new thing, and also this is like, I know there's so many other people involved in this. Like, you know what I mean? And they're not going to be in anything else ever again. So it's easy to solve. Michael Keaton returns as Batman. We mentioned that up top. For the first time since 1992. So it's been 30 years since he's here, and he is actually all right. A lot.
He's still doing.
I've heard mixed things about his performance, of people saying he's just there for like a cash grab. But I don't think he is. There's some moments in this where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's actually like trying here. He actually cares about this a little bit.
I know a little bit on this.
Go for it.
So Keaton, way back yonder when Batgirl was still going to be released to the public.
Yes.
The idea was that Keaton was going to take over Affleck's role at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Keaton was going to be the new DCEU Batman. We know this because in
behind the scenes
Batgirl,
shots.
there's like murals with Keaton's bat suit and an original Robin suit, which is amazing. But we know that Keaton was meant to do this. We also know that there were talks for a Batman Beyond style movie, with Michael Keaton in it, and if the Flash movie did well, it was gonna be lifted off the ground. We now know that it is certainly not happening. That was confirmed in the past day or two.
It is currently, right, the movie cost between $200 and $225 million. Probably on the higher end, including reshoots. Some estimates go up to nearly $300 million. So far, it's been out nearly 2 weeks, and it has made $144 million worldwide. That is abysmal. It is heavily speculated that this weekend in America, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse's third weekend will outgross The Flash's second.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is beyond nuts.
Yeah.
This movie is
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
This movie is a colossal financial failure.
Just to tie off though what you'd said about Keaton. Keaton he works his ass off in this movie. So I have a theory as to also why, but he works his ass off because when he was filming it, he was under the impression that he's gonna be the new Batman.
It's not like bringing Harrison Ford and that back for Star Wars, where it's just like, oh, the old characters are back. Oh, they're grumpier than usual.
No, he was under the impression he was.
No, I mean, like, it just felt like Michael Keaton hadn't gone away.
Yeah, and
I would have been happy for him to be the new Batman, or to be the returning.
Michael Keaton's just a really great presence.
Yeah,
I really like Michael Keaton.
My little like fan theory in my head as to why he's working his ass off on set is because Sony have nabbed the Vulture. No, because Michael Keaton clearly had a lot of fun on the comic movies he's worked on.
Yeah.
And now that Sony have inhaled him into the Morbius verse, he knows for a fact that he's not going to get a Vulture movie. He knows for a fact that the only time he's going to show up next on screen is with Morbius in tow. And is thus working his ass off trying to get some sort of a stable footing in DC.
The next time we see him will be the Craven post-credit scene where they're trying to recruit.
It has something to do with Spider-Man, I think.
It's got something to do with Spider-Man. Who's Spider-Man? The spiders that fell on you earlier. He's like that, but he's a man.
I'm craving for some Spider-Man.
Oh no! No!
I'm craving for some Spider-Man.
I'm craving for a taste.
I'm excited
Spider-Man.
for when he says it's Craven time.
We also get the debut of Sasha Calle's Supergirl.
Really interesting interpretation of Supergirl.
Absolute goddess.
I love her, but she's not in it enough.
Yeah.
So her design, I initially thought it was a design based on a Supergirl called Sir L, who's from the future, of DC. But it turns out she's actually heavily inspired, and is not even inspired, completely designed off a spin-off game from DC called Injustice: Gods Among Us, which one of the best DC stories ever. Long story short, Superman loses Lois Lane and goes full like tyrannical ruler of Earth, like how we see in the nightmare sequences in Injustice. In that, he Lois Lane was pregnant when she dies, and he hallucinates at one point what happens in a world where his child did not die, and it is the spitting image of her.
Wow.
I'll for those Supergirl. For
It's
those,
bad. It's bad podcast.
it's
but go on.
bad podcast etiquette. But what I will do is post a little picture in here. I'll put it in that chat there. It's very bad podcast etiquette. She's called Lara Lane Kent.
Oh wow.
For those who want to go look it up,
Oh my
it
God.
is the spitting image.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Tell you
it's
what.
nice that DC are looking at other properties that they have. I like that.
I think I prefer Supergirl with black hair. I dug it.
I like it.
Um,
I dig it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
she,
For sure.
I like, she had, I liked her as Supergirl, but I just wish she could have done a bit more in the film. Apart from being mostly CGI for a lot of it, and you know.
Yeah,
we'll get
like
there.
the-
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So, I want to say other things I liked in this. Ben Affleck. I really like Ben Affleck's Batman. I've always liked Ben Affleck's Batman.
I did
all-
too.
Always liked him, and it's such a shame that he's kind of been dicked over so hard. But he's also really solid in this, and we get a really great performance from a actress called Maribel Verdú, who plays Barry's mom.
Agreed.
She's so good,
Wasn't
man.
Agreed.
Wasn't she in Pan's Labyrinth?
Is she? Let's have
Is that
a
the
look.
same woman I'm thinking of?
She is in Pan's
'Cause
Labyrinth.
she's great in that. Yeah.
She is in Pan's
And
Labyrinth.
she, like, there's some truly emotional scenes in this film as a result of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the movie does have it has a lot of issues, and we will get to it. CGI is a massive one. There are so many scenes where the visual effects look at best unfinished. It looks like previs. It's that bad at points.
The shots of the final battle that we see in the trailer with all
Yes.
the soldiers and such. For those who haven't seen this movie yet, whenever you're watching it, look at the soldiers really carefully. They look as if they're rendered in a PlayStation 2. It's really bad. Like the way they're running, it's really like blocky, and like I don't care if you say it's how the Flash sees it, because the Flash moves at super
I
speed.
understand that, though.
I don't,
Like,
because
Stop
it looks
Joe.
At first,
Stop
crap.
making excuses for this crap-looking movie.
I'm not. I'm
You
just
are.
saying.
You're
like,
buying
it-
into it.
in context, there is a bit of the film that makes sense with that reasoning.
I refuse to believe this, because in Justice League we see the Flash move super quick, and not once does someone look as if they are at home on Mario 64. Not once.
Because Zack Snyder actually knows how to use visual effects.
It's
And also, he had time to do it. This
It's
is
lazy.
such a rush job.
they had 10 years. They had 10 fucking years.
They had 10 years, but they only started filming this they started filming it 2 years ago. But they had to have done better than this. This is abysmal levels. The fact that they've agreed, like, yeah, this is okay, we can say this and it's fine, people will believe it, it's bullshit. It is so terrible. This movie cost so much money. And there are so many visual effects artists that probably did as good a job as they could with the time they had. And it looks truly abhorrent. There are moments in this that I can't stop thinking about that. I'm like, oh wow, that is rough.
Okay, there are the moments that look like the Polar Express, but some of it was either charming or the thing that we can't talk about because I don't know if it's in the trailers. I didn't watch all of them, but I can understand that. But I will say yes, there is bad CGI. A lot of the time with the Flash's suit, where it just does not look like he's in that suit.
That brings me on to a point. I actually wanted to say I think all the suit like Ben Affleck's suit wasn't great. The new suit that he wears
in this film.
Yeah, in this film. I think I do kind of like the Flash's suit. And Supergirl's suit is amazing, and Michael Keaton's suit is really cool. I think this is really great. This is another reason that DC will always have a bit of my heart, because you can tell, contrary to what you said, Joe, most of the time you can tell that they are all wearing the suits.
No, I believe that the Flash does. There is a physical suit that they use.
Yeah, whereas
shots.
in Marvel, when I don't believe for a second any of them are ever wearing one of their suits.
No, I don't think there is a proper Black Panther suit or a yeah.
No, not for a single second do I believe that.
Even let me amend that then. There are some shots where Ezra's Flash looks bad in the suit, but a lot of the time the character looks good in it.
It
does look like a physical.
I kind of like the design when it's all. I think when it's like dormant, I don't think it looks as good. But then with all the like yellow orange lightning around it, I think that looks kind of cool. I feel like Hamish might disagree on this one.
Wait, what? Like when the lightning's coming off him?
No, yeah. When he's like, you see that shot of him when he's got like the strains lighting up on the suit.
Oh no, I love that.
I think that looks really cool.
That's how the Flash should look.
I think when it looks when it's dormant, when there's no lights on it or anything, I don't think it looks as good.
I bounce. Sometimes I think the Flash's suit, like in the CW, when it's just like the kind of red, the leather.
Yeah.
I think it works. I think that minimalist design works. However, he's a superhero. He runs at super speed. There's got to be a little bit of flair to his suit, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever the suit's lighting up and you see like the sparks of lightning coming off him, it looks phenomenal. What I've never appreciated is how in all the past movies they've made his lightning blue, and now it's suddenly orange. That is a thing with speedsters in DC. The color of their lightning means a lot. Usually it depicts how fast they are, what type of speed force they're connected to, because there are multiple different forces out there and different types of a speed force, which I'll get to in our spoiler zone.
Yes, we're nearly
because
there.
There's some things to discuss there. But yeah, it's. I've come to the conclusion that it chops and it changes, especially in this movie, because the directors either just wanted it to change color or they couldn't be bothered with continuity.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Can I also just say this does not feel like a 2.5 hour movie?
It doesn't. I will give it that. It doesn't.
I think there's a middle section that feels a little bit longer, but I'll go with you. I don't think it drags as much as it could.
As a side note, the Flash needs to have a chin strap on the suit. It needs to.
I swear there was one in the trailers.
No.
And then they removed it.
He had a collar at a point.
Yeah.
And they removed that so his neck looks really weird.
It needs a chin strap because otherwise... Or just like a chin piece, because otherwise... I feel like if Ezra Miller opens their mouth, it just like kind of swings. You know? Like it's like a head knocker. It just doesn't feel right. It looks like everything else is protected and they're constantly jutting their chin forward. This has been my TED Talk. Moving on.
I think Supergirl's suit is so good. That's like
It's perfect.
yeah, it's so good. Right, we'll do like I guess like final thoughts before spoilers. And if you guys want to give it a rating as well.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I think I enjoyed it because it's a bit of fun, silly, goofy fun, nice way to end the DC universe, but it's not really because we're getting Aquaman too. I think it's a fun way to round it out. But my God, is it not really a flashpoint? It's not the flashpoint. If you go into this movie thinking, oh my God, that amazing DC animated movie, Flashpoint, I'm finally going to get to see it live action. You're not. Go home. Just go watch a better DC movie.
Go watch the animated version because it's so good.
Please, the animated movie is so good.
I was going to ask, the way you described it, I do want to watch it.
Joe, I will watch it with you.
Bro, can we watch it on chat, please? Because it's really good.
Oh my God, please. It's so good.
We can do that.
I mean, if for free tonight, I'm happy to.
Because, like, genuinely, that sounds really
I'd love
cool.
to. It is... Oh, dude. Amazing movie.
Joe, go on.
So, you already know that I'm quite fond of the film. Fun is the word. I had a lot of fun watching it. I don't think there were any points where I was like, oh, I want this to end. The third act is the weakest. It's the one you see the most in the trailers. Batman's great. I loved seeing Michael Keaton back. Supergirl was great. Wish she was in it more. I enjoyed The Flash in this. Is probably the most I've enjoyed his interpretation of The Flash. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, I just had fun with it. And I'd happily watch it again. And if it came out on Blu-ray, oh well, it will come out on Blu-ray. When it comes out on Blu-ray, I will buy it. I will give this a 7 out of 10.
Okay. So
I need to give it. I need to give it a rating out of 10.
Go for it.
I want to say 6.5.
Okay. We all are at varying degrees of how angry we are with this movie, and how it sounds like we're all saying different things, but we're actually all closer than you think. I did come out of this being like, I kind of enjoyed that. Like, I did the same thing that you did, and that's why I was like, we need to talk about this, because it's not, people are talking about it online like it's the worst thing since, like, Judas betrayed Jesus, but it's got 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's, like, solid. 84 audience score. That's solid. Like, it's, I know that's just like a number metric, whatever, but this isn't the worst reviewed film of all time. This isn't a Morbius. People are enjoying this, and it's because there's good stuff in it. I think Ezra Miller, it's such a shame that they're a dog of a dude, but, like, you know, what can you do? So, some of the most talented people are, I guess, because they crush this. They're really good in this, and it upsets me deeply that I say that, because Warner Brothers pay me a lot of money, and I'll do the same, please, I promise. I'm not getting in shape, though. Fuck that shit. I'll be your Ned. I'll be your guy in a chair. I think it's got some really great introductions. I think Sasha Calais really has a future, and I'm begging DC to carry on with her as Supergirl. Michael Keaton being back is really fun. It's got some fun action moments. The CGI is awful. It's got good supporting characters. It's really funny. The first hour and a half of the movie, I think, is really solid. Couple of bits that, you know, don't quite work. We'll get into that a bit more in spoilers. I think overall it's... And there are some things as well we haven't even mentioned yet that are really spoilery, that are like, this is abhorrent. I do not like this at all. But again, that's something we'll get to later on. Overall, I left it and I was like, it's a passing grade. I'd give this, like, if this was a test, if this was an essay, it'd be like a C. So I guess I'll give it a 6. Maybe a 5.5.
It does beg the question, if Ezra Miller hadn't done all those things, would you think of the film more fondly?
Yes.
Ever so slightly. I think I've been very nice to this. No, 6, because that's 60, and that would make it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I'd say this is. Don't go out and see it. I told my dad, like, he was like, I'm gonna go see The Flash this week, and I was like, just see Spider-Man instead, man. It's better for your soul. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, no, trust me. Please go and see Spider-Man instead. It's
the
so much better.
2023 double bill. Start with The Flash, be like, maybe I enjoyed that, and then go see Spider-Man.
And be
I do find
completely blown away.
Yeah.
I do find it funny how there was a video of Michael Keaton going, the film to watch on Father's Day is The Flash because I'm in it as Batman. And I didn't realise this, but we went and saw it on Father's Day.
We
I don't
did.
think we even realised it.
So,
Yeah,
We did.
Me and my dad Hamish, we went to go see.
It's all right, son.
I enjoyed The Flash, Daddy.
I didn't even need an AI for you to say that.
Did not need the extra DY on that, man. Yeah, listen, the movie's gonna lose a load of money, so who really cares in the end? Bring on the reboot, I guess. Fucking hell, James Gunn. Right. Shall we move into spoilers?
I'm
finally?
itching. I am itching. I have
Okay.
some nerd lore to dip.
If you have not seen this movie, go away. But also, you've probably seen most of what we're going to talk about on Twitter, because so much of this has been on Twitter, it's outrageous. I'm going to put the spoiler alert in now. There will be time codes in the description if you don't want to hear spoilers. And here we go. Spoilers.
Joe, you have your hand up.
Shoot. Who wants to go first?
Me.
I'm itching, but I'll let Joe go.
I just wanted to start quickly with, I love the title card, how it started to come into existence, and then he was interrupted by the people, and it sort of dissipates.
I appreciate that.
I thought that was really cool. I was like, I see what you're doing there.
Can I spit on the story
that.
now?
I like that as well, Joe. It was a fun title card.
Yeah.
Can I spit on
Go
the
for
story
it,
now?
Hamish. Yeah.
For a story about the Flash, it has no characters really that are present in the actively present in the Flash mythos, and what ones are there, i.e. Jay Garrick, who has a weird cameo. Right, rundown. Jay Garrick, member of the Justice Society of America. Before you start thinking, wow, those are the guys that you saw in Black Adam, you are completely correct. However, the Justice Society of America do show up in DC in different points of time. Sometimes they happen during the Cold War. Sometimes they happen during World War II. Sometimes they are the present day replacement for the Justice League. In DC's combined timeline, they take place way before everything else and happen during World War II / the Cold War. They are kind of meant to represent the golden age of superheroes. Because they all kind of smile. They're like, fair play, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Jay Garrick has been represented by two different actors. John Wesley Ships, I'm going to butcher his name, who represents him on the CW. Jay Garrick in present day in the comics is an old man. He does him phenomenally, and it's really sweet to see him get to portray Jay, because he used to play Barry during the old Flash TV show.
In the 90s,
it's really
yeah.
in the 90s indeed. And then we've got Teddy Sears, who played a imposter of Jay Garrick, who looks scarily like Jay Garrick. In my opinion, Teddy Sears is the perfect young Jay Garrick. And in fact, there's a lot of people reaching out to Teddy right now on Twitter and reporters asking him, what was his role in the Flash movie? Wow, it was really weird that we saw you there. It's AI generated. It's not Teddy Sears. What they've done is they've fed the AI loads of images of a live action Jay Garrick and comic panels, and because it's a young Jay Garrick, the only person that's ever portrayed him on screen is Teddy Sears as a young Jay Garrick. Thus, what we see looks dangerously like Teddy Sears, but he's not. He wasn't told.
I saw this.
They had complete rights to use him. Really weird cameo. Second big one is the Reverse Flash, dangerously missing from this story.
Yes.
For those who don't know, and the entirety of Barry's mum being killed is usually sometimes left up to a debate whether it's a random home invader or if it's the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash was in the future. He is a obsessed fan of Barry who recreates the accident that gave him his powers. Barry kind of steals his spotlight by accident, by no fault of his own. So he runs back in time because he's an egomaniac and murders Barry's mum, inadvertently creating the Flash. A lot of people have some issues with that because the idea is that if Barry's mum was never murdered, Barry would still just be like a useless, like, hobo, like, kid, like, stoner, which we do kind of see in the movie.
Yes.
That he never actually has the capacity to do good and to want to do good if his mum wasn't killed, which kind of makes him a bit of a shitty person. But the direct
with the
oh,
I was gonna say, with the Reverse Flash stuff, I think this film is more about. I don't think he cares about who did it. He just wants to stop. Basically, he just wants to prove that his dad didn't do it.
that
And
very true. Very true.
It's less about who did it
Yeah.
and just trying to fix it.
I mean, the whole thing is that the Reverse Flash taunts Barry with this right the way through their time knowing each other, that it was him who killed his mum. And the director has come out and said the Reverse Flash is the one in this movie to have killed his mum. Why didn't we see it?
I saw a thing. I saw a thing online. It was like, I get kind of see the idea that like Barry spends this entire movie knowing that things are like irreversible. Fate is fate, and you cannot change the past. To then in the sequel meet the Reverse Flash and find out, oh no, it's just this dickhead that just killed his mum.
Yeah.
And so it could have been altered, but like I kind of like that idea, but also like, yeah, no, it's also like Barry learns no lessons in this. But Barry's lesson should be that you cannot mess with things. Things are
Well, no, Barry does learn that.
unchanged.
He lets go, and that is a big thing with
No, but then at the
Flashpoint.
end he still changes the past and it fucks with everything again. So he's
That's
still
true.
in another
That's true.
future.
That's very true. The whole thing with Flashpoint, the story, the core of the story, even the book and the animated movie, is that Barry is so driven by grief. He's always that second too slow to save the person, like that person crossing the street, that person he loved, and it all begins with his mum. And the whole point is that it builds in the comics that he finally forgives Reverse Flash, and that is the ultimate payback. He finally forgives him for inadvertently creating the man that torments the Reverse Flash. It's just a shame that it sucks. That the director realized that there was massive fan backlash at the missing yellow speedster, and was like, yeah, no, he's there. It was him who did it.
There's so many. It's revisionist filmmaking, and I kind of hate it. How everything now is, oh well, this is actually how this happened, and just they're adding lore on Twitter, and I'm like, what? No, stop put it in your movie.
Other directors who are guilty of this are the Russo brothers, and it is really annoying.
Really annoying.
If it is the case, put it in the film. Don't. It's like with J.K. Rowling as well, saying, "Oh yeah, this happened off screen." Blah, blah. I don't want to cite J.K. Rowling, but
no,
I do.
If
I do. Hi.
No, but like if you know something and you like, okay, this does happen, it should be in the film.
Yeah.
You know, it should be there. Like there's no point telling us that Reverse Flash did it. It means nothing because he's not in it. It would only mean something if they're going to do it in the future, and they're not because DC's starting over.
I like the idea that it was left ambiguous. However, what I don't appreciate is that they then came out and clarified, because it's the same.
They shouldn't have done
They
that.
shouldn't have done that. Speaking of heinous cameos and lack of cameos,
yeah, can we get
Xander is itching. I can see the man
itching.
twitching in his seat.
This moment was the moment I said we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
There are a couple.
Did you? Did you know about any of the cameos going into it?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew
Did you
about
know all of them.
I knew about Christopher Reeve going into this.
I did. Can we quickly? Sorry, Zan. I know you're like itching on the edge of your seat.
Please.
Can we quickly just walk through the little DM messages that we had whenever I asked, "Is Nick Cage in this movie?" And you said, "Hamish, I don't," because I know a good bit on the Nick Cage Superman movie, and you went, "Hamish, I don't want to spoil anything." I said, "Xander, is Cage in the movie in block capitals?" You went, yes, he is, Hamish. I said, "Did they also keep the 10-minute sex scene between Ezra Miller and a dead rat?" And you said, surprisingly, yes.
Yo, we're funny, man.
We are.
We're bare funny. That's actually hilarious.
Nice Scott Pilgrim. Nice. Ooh.
That's lovely.
I rewatched that the other night.
C1 will like that. C1 will like that.
Hey, Siwan, we miss you. Come back.
Yeah, please come back.
Be an adult. We're not being it.
Yeah, we need an adult.
We need the
right
voice
now.
of reason.
So yes, we get some cameos from dead people. The dead speak. Somehow, Christopher Reeve has returned. Christopher Reeve and the actress that played Supergirl. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Christopher Reeve specifically is a very dead man. He died quite a while ago, and they've used AI to bring him back into this movie, and it feels very gross.
Do you know the further context on Christopher Reeve's career and what Superman did to his career?
I think you're talking about the other guy.
Was it the horse riding accident that left him paralyzed?
No, so
was
you're
horse
talking
riding,
about George Reeves.
Me?
No, Hamish, because
am I thinking George Reeves?
You're thinking about George Reeves, who is also a very, very dead man who has been brought back by AI in this movie as a neat little cameo. Isn't that adorable? He has been brought back. George Reeves played Superman in the old serials in the 30s and 40s.
It's the black and white one you see, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, was that him?
That's him. So this guy has been plagued by Superman his entire career. He couldn't outgrow Superman, and it made him kill himself.
Oh my god.
Because of this character. And then, on the anniversary of his death, this movie is released, where a dirty, dirty, gross, disgusting AI cameo of him appears. And we're all like, oh yeah, it's him! Wait! Where's Andrew Garfield? Fucking
I knew about the Christopher Reeve stuff.
It's so gross.
I knew about the Christopher Reeve stuff.
It honestly put the dirtiest little taste in my mouth. I couldn't enjoy the back 20 minutes of the movie.
Andrew Garfield's not dead though.
And
as far as I know, he has not killed himself.
I shouldn't laugh, but it's giving me Vietnam flashbacks to an old producer who we used to have on the podcast. We went to see Spider-Verse. Spider-Man. It's not Far From Home. It's not Homecoming. It's
No Way Home.
No Way Home. And he's like, Venom's gonna be in this movie. Venom's gonna be the centerpiece of this movie. And then the credits happen. He goes, Venom! It's Venom!
Wait, so just to check, you did actually mean?
Yes,
I didn't realise that. I was like, what producer has been on this show?
Aside from myself, the only other producer. I don't even do producing anymore on this show. I've stepped in when I've had to do HR before I became a co-host, and that's it.
I was just like, who's the producers? Like this Hamish.
Man, that's a bit of HR. That's amazing.
That was my role. I wasn't producer. I was HR. And Xander knows that is all too true.
Bro, no, because listen, fuck you guys. I do all the work here. I'm the producer.
I was human resources for That's actually so much more an accurate title than producer.
No, but
So this
didn't know
cameo.
I knew about the Christopher Reeve.
I'm crying, Amy, stop.
And breathe.
No,
And
I knew about the Christopher Reeve thing because I knew there was the horse riding accident which sort of paralyzed him, didn't it? I didn't know about. Was it George Reeves? Did you say
George Reeves?
I had no idea about that. That is, yeah. So when I was defending the cameos earlier, or like when we got out the cinema, I had no idea about that. So I am sorry.
The other cameo is, as Hamish mentioned earlier, Nicolas Cage comes in, and now this confused everyone I was with, because this is such a fucking niche reference that it lasts the longest out of all of them, that it's just gonna confuse most of your audience. Because if you don't know, in the late 90s and early noughties, Tim Burton was given the reins to Superman, and he hired Nicolas Cage to be Superman. The movie got into pre-production, was being made. There is a documentary about all this called The Death of Superman Lives. I recommend you check it out. It's a very interesting documentary. And there was a producer on it. I've forgotten the guy's name, but he's a big weirdo. And he was a big producer in Warner Brothers. And he said, you can make your Superman movie with Nicolas Cage, Tim Burton, but there must be... there is one rule. In the third act, Superman must fight a giant spider.
Yeah, I remember this.
Weirdest guy. And they were like, okay, sure. So they started working on it. Kevin Smith is a big part of this as well. And then they cancelled the movie. And do you know what they used the money for? The money that they were going to use for the new Superman movie, they spent on Wild Wild West.
That's why there's a big spider in it.
And there's a fucking big spider
That's
in
why.
it.
No, I was going to say that as trivia, but you beat me to it.
I beat you to it.
It makes sense.
So then in this, Barry's looking around at the multiverse like, cutting shapes as he's running. Like, this fucking hell. And he looks around and spots them miles away. He spotted shapes. That's how he runs. Stitch. He looks like
I'm coughing up a log over here.
He's like he's having a mild stroke.
He looks
when he's
over.
explaining.
He looks over in the top corner and he sees the fucking Wicker Man dressed as Superman fighting a spider. And he's like, that's so confusing to literally everyone else other than the 5% of nerds that have seen this weird documentary.
But don't worry. Don't worry, because by accident they spoilt it. They released an interview too early to explain that Nicolas Cage was returning. So everyone knew anyway. It's fine.
It's actually not a giant spider. It's Brainiac who has turned into a spider.
Fuck off, Hamish! It's a giant spider!
Also, a side note, that Superman movie was also going to have another studio-influenced decision on it.
Oh, no.
The marketing team had such a... Not the marketing team, like the merch team, had such like free reign over like turning that movie into its bitch that they demanded that Superman have a little robotic sidekick that turned into his like the S on his suit. There is concept art of that somewhere. Empire Magazine got their hands on it a few years ago.
That would have been the weirdest movie because Tim Burton is a fucked up guy. Right?
Tim Burton.
Did you see what he did to Batman? Like, he changed everyone's perception of Batman. Can you imagine what Superman would be like right now? It'd be like Zack Snyder has changed everyone's perception of Superman with Man of Steel, thinking everyone saying he's boring and he kills people. But Tim Burton's Superman would have been very, very weird, especially Tim Burton.
How dare you say that?
Cage Superman.
Zack Snyder is the reason why Barry cuts shapes when he runs. How dare you?
I do want to say though about the Nicolas Cage cameo. I read someone saying that a nice thing about these multiverse films is you get to reference stuff that maybe was cancelled. Like that is
sure.
cool. Like seeing
But that's
stuff, getting a glimpse of it.
You know what we should have seen a glimpse of? Batgirl! The entire movie that was cancelled. The entire fucking movie.
Yeah,
we
this
could have shown
This should have been a
that.
2-hour cameo.
Should have been a 2-hour cameo. Release the movie, you tax-avoiding frauds. Release it.
There were a couple of screenshots released
so
of Michael Keaton's Batman dressed, and they lit him like in the proper lighting that suit should be lit in, and it looks great.
Yeah,
it looks really great. You're like, oh, this
like,
probably
do you
would have
think
been kind of
like,
fun.
Do you ever think like that film would come out? Because I know that it's a tax write-off, and
it can't. No,
It legally cannot.
That movie
Ever.
can never see the light of day, or Warner Bros. Owes the IRS $80 million.
that's so bad. Like,
But they're
like
current-
never. It's not like a Snyder Cut situation. It can never come out.
It will never. The only people that have seen it are the cast and crew who worked on it, who got a private screening.
Release it illegally. Make them pay the money.
I desperately
Don't care
want
about these big businesses. Fuck
I'm
you.
not saying I'm encouraging someone to go and
Do
steal
it.
the USB
Legal
drive with
actions,
it on
do
it.
it.
Someone do it.
They,
Someone leak it on the internet.
Brendan,
Someone
Brendan.
do it. Brendan, do
Fraser,
it. Do
you
it.
have a copy.
Like Hulk
Leak
out.
it.
Hulk
Leak
out.
it.
Do it.
Leak it.
Lead your fans.
the whale powers.
Lead them ascend like the whale and breach Warner Bros.
They what else has happened? They Warner Brothers are also currently trying to offload $500 million worth of IP,
What is going
well,
on over there?
including
They
some
are-
Batman films. I'm like, what?
Everything is bankrupt. Everything is fucked.
It's almost as if going through the entirety of 2021 and releasing every single one of your films on your streaming service was a bad idea.
Yep.
And then them all making no money. The Suicide Squad is one of the lowest grossing DC superhero movies of all time.
It's a shame
Because
'cause
it
it's
got
one of their
released on
best.
HBO Max the same
It's-
day.
It's like their best. Which
It
is
is
a
like
shame.
their best. Right, other spoilers. You want to talk about your babies? Right, they're gross, and the scene is too silly. Hear
No,
me out.
I-
It is too Looney Tunes.
I
I
get that.
enjoyed
I get that.
the reversed version of it when he stuffs a baby in a microwave.
yeah,
that for me is
The clip on
canon.
Twitter is amazing.
that-
the clip on
that-
Twitter is amazing.
That for me is canon accurate Ezra Miller.
I desperately just wanted to see the context, but I just love the moment when Alfred. Yeah, Alfred's in this film. Alfred is just on the thing. He's like, "There's a baby," and then the Flash is like, "Shower," and it's just raining babies. I was like, "That is so clever." Like, I hate saying this film is clever, but it is.
I'm of firm belief, by the way, that Jeremy Irons is the best Alfred we've ever had. I think he's a fantastic Alfred, and we should see more Jeremy Irons Alfred.
I'm waiting to see Andy Serkis do a bit more, but Jeremy Irons is great.
Jeremy Irons is really good. And man, Ben Affleck got the best send off. Like that line he
It's a
says about
good intro.
Faye. Not the intro's really good, but then like the that scene he has in the alleyway
alley.
with, and then he's chatting to it, and that line is, someone put it on Twitter a while ago, but it's like it's so wonderful, and it perfectly encapsulates what I love about his Batman. And then he says, "Oh, let's go for a drink." He's like, "Not tonight," and then goes, and that's like a really nice way for us to like leave this guy off, but also like, you bastards, you bastards.
This is like, say what you like about the CGI, but I think this is a very well directed film, and the action in the beginning is very well directed. Like when, like there's this big explosion, like I think the Batmobile explodes or something, and he just comes like twisting through the flames, and then his wings extend. I'm like, that's Batman. We should have got more. We should have got more street level Batfleck stuff, because that was
That
great.
is a brilliant callback to Batman's very first front cover issue, where he is tilting through the air with his wings extended on a nice like yellow sunrise.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that Affleck got that recognition. Whenever you said say what you want about the CGI, I very nearly butted in and said, but the 10-minute sex scene between Ezra Miller and the dead rat was amazing.
That sounds like a Harry Potter book. Ezra Miller and
The dead rat.
No, I saw a comment of someone saying that Batfleck's not very good in this because he's making quips and jokes. Have you not seen the Adam West Batman? Batman is not just a one-note. He's allowed to make jokes.
Also, like, have you seen Zack Snyder's Justice League?
He makes
kind of
jokes
funny
in
in
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else really want to go back and watch the Snyder Cut now?
No.
It's so good.
It's not.
I want to. I really want
is.
to.
It's not. I don't need the 30-second shots of a glacier just to understand that they are indeed
Oh, but the music's good
somewhere
over
cold.
it, so I'll forgive it.
All I saw on Twitter was, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I hate this movie. I can't believe this got released, all this. And then I'm looking, and I'm like...
Did we watch the same film?
It's still fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I know that's obviously not a metric, but that shouldn't be a way I look at movies. But I'm like, there's clearly someone liked this. Like, quite a few people liked this. And I sat there and I was like, I kind of enjoyed this. Like, there are a lot of moments in it. I feel like we've talked a lot of shit about it because there's a lot of shit to be talked, but like there is still some good stuff in it. And
The action,
for instance,
Keaton's Batman. Ho ho ho!
Hearing the Keaton Batman Batman theme in full was just, I got goosebumps.
Amazing.
Just listening to it. I was
It's
like,
amazing.
oh.
I turned to Joe in the cinema when that happened, and he did genuinely look like a child.
Like I had a
just
big
defied
grin on my
reality
face.
and saw that Santa Claus was indeed real.
My
If
mouth
this
was
movie
literally
wants
open.
If this movie wants to make you watch anything, it's Batman '89 because
Yeah.
that movie slaps hard.
I've still never seen Keaton's Batman movies.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
They're good.
I watched the Clooney movies and swore off old Batman.
Right.
speaking of, Clooney's in this.
Are we going to mention that? Because now apparently George Clooney's Batman in this universe.
He's not.
What we
Can't
don't
confirm.
I'm guessing it's just a fun cameo.
I don't know. It seems like a,
But like,
a
is
weird
that
way
where we're
to
gonna
end it.
leave? Is this where we're gonna leave everything off? Also, Ben Affleck apparently filmed a cameo for Aquaman. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's being rewritten with George Clooney in it to keep continuity in this dead universe.
Oh yeah, another thing. Aquaman's in the post credits.
In the post-credit scene, a really weird post-credit scene.
Yeah, I looked it up because we were like, is there a post credit scene? And it said, yeah, this one's a doozy. I'm like, okay. And it's just Aquaman drunk in a puddle, and then the
That's
Flash
it.
just leaves him.
And that's it.
So,
It's not even like that
that's how we're
funny.
ending. That's how we're ending this.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not even that funny. Like,
What I will say is that it is somewhat nice to see that these, like, the Justice League are genuinely friends outside of what
Yeah.
they do. Because in Marvel, it
all
seems that they all
workmates,
just
aren't they?
kind of show up to, like, watch the bombing of Iran and to shoot a laser or two, and then off they fuck.
It was nice to
It
see.
humanizes them.
It was nice to see Batfleck, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Aquaman all in one film. It is a shame about Cyborg, but it's completely understandable why he
mean,
wouldn't come back after the
yeah,
shit that was put on his lap.
yeah.
I wish the guy all the best. He did a phenomenal job with Cyborg.
Absolutely.
It's just a crying shame that DC have allowed their reputation with one of the most representative black superheroes out there and the most influential black superheroes to be tarnished in such a way.
Yeah. I think for me, like, it's such a shame that all this is being ramped up now for James Gunn. So we get Blue Beetle in like less than 2 months, and apparently that's the first movie in his universe. But then we're not getting anything until 2025. I'm like, I say leave it till 2030. I say shut everything down at DC, leave it till 2030, and then start fresh. Give people some breathing space from this franchise.
Yeah, they're too close
because
together.
It's too close. People get confused. Just leave it to die for like I said, 5 years. Give it 5 years with
Let it
absolute.
die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die.
Give it just time to rest and breathe. Bring people back in with a new Superman movie in 2028, 2030, and then we can go from there. But right now, you've got this absolute shit show where there are 3 Batmen in it. Then you've also got a new Batman coming out that's going to be directed by Andy Muschietti in 2026, is it? The new one part of James Gunn's universe. You've also still got Robert
Reeves.
Pattinson's Batman. Like, what people get confused. Like, general audiences won't know what's going on. So you need to leave this, let Matt Reeves complete his trilogy, and then restart everything. Because, like, you can't have all this going on. You just can't. It doesn't work.
I think it also it sort of tells you how much of a shit show this DC universe has been, in that one of the main superheroes, Superman. When was the last time we saw? Oh, okay, Black Adam. I've just remembered. But like, he's in this, but it's like a news thing, and you do not see his face. It's like,
Well, no, we do see his face. It's CG'd
Oh, sorry,
during the
it's
time sphere.
but
Yeah, from Barry's perspective, so we can understand why he looks like a plastic man.
Why couldn't they just get the fucking clip of it? Why does it... Why is it so bad?
I don't know.
I'll be honest, guys. I'm getting tired. I don't know
I
what
am
else
too.
there is to say about this
I've got lots to say.
Joe, please.
Quick
No
fire,
pun
quick fire.
intended.
When they first meet Bruce Wayne in the mansion, and he throws the pan, it's like the Batarang scene in Snyder Cut, when he like, it's in slow
It
motion.
is,
He
yeah.
sees it.
Oh, it
And then he
is.
catches
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
is.
fun. That's fun. I like that.
So there's
Good
that.
Sick reference, bro. Dude, your references are out of control.
Yeah, Batman and Supergirl die.
Oh, yeah. So unceremoniously. They were clearly meant to come back at the end. That was not meant to be the last time we see them, because they are killed off so unceremoniously. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Although
So-
Batman does go out like a Chad, like he does a kamikaze, and then he does like the spinning thing of like when the big guy's trying to get in
the
and it
name
spins.
of the Japanese Empire.
Yeah, and then he like wrestles that guy. I mean, he does get thrown off and absolutely destroyed, but he puts a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
Zod isn't in it much, but he doesn't really need to be.
Michael
We
Shannon
know he's
does
just-
not want to be there.
No.
Does not want to be there.
Oh yeah, and is it the Dark Flash? Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
spoilt on the back of a pop vinyl, so I knew that was in the film. I went in there into HMV, and on the back was Wonder Woman and the Dark Flash. I'm like, oh okay, well, I guess that's happening in the film.
Yeah. Also got like less than a minute of screen time, so.
Yeah, there's like a solid hour and a half where you see him like near the beginning, and then for an hour and a half he's just gone. And then he's in a dream for like 5 seconds, and then he's right at the end.
Yeah.
There needed to be something more on him, because
It's
it's an interesting idea, but
it seemed like the plot of the Buzz Lightyear movie with the
Yes.
was it the
oh
older
my
Buzz?
god, it is! Oh my god!
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Yes.
they're doing the older Buzz.
I also think that I also pretty sure that I said on this podcast when the trailer came out for the Super Bowl thing, there were 2 flashes. I said, guarantee one of them's bad, and you're like, no, there's no way, and he was.
No,
He
I
was
think
the Dark
I
Flash.
think I was talking to this with C1 though, because we were like, oh, I bet that one of them, or the younger one, will turn out to be bad.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no, it was
I knew
after
it.
we saw the Dark Flash on the box. We both turned to each other and were like, I bet it's the younger one. And we were right. I mean, she hasn't seen the film, but she doesn't want to, don't you know? But
Yeah. No.
you know, we were right.
Anything else, Joe?
Sandy, you're really done with this film, so I'm going to continue to find things to talk about. So,
Bro, we've been recording an hour and a half. This is already the longest one we've done in about a month.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Did you want to mention the music? I can see you've been
Oh,
listening
yeah.
to it on your Spotify.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it right now. Of course, the Michael Keaton Batman theme was in it. I smiled a lot at that. Unfortunately, not all of it is on the soundtrack, but just listen to the original score from 1989. There is a hint of Michael Reeves' Superman theme when he pops up, which is cool. I like the Flash's new theme. I think I prefer it to his one from Snyder Cut because it's more fitting to the character. There are hints of the Man of Steel soundtrack with was it the World Engine? Like the sound that makes is in the score, which is quite cool. The score kind of reminded me of John Williams in a good way. And I just got a notification saying he's composing the music for Craven. So that's just been announced. So yes, I'm craving some Spider-Man.
Is that it? Is that everything? Have we covered?
Are we
the
free?
Actually, there are.
Have
a few
we
more
outran
things
it?
There are a few more things I want to make. No, I'm kidding. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap this up. Altogether, yeah, no. Listen, do your own research. Decide whether you want to go and see this. And like, we watched this so that maybe some of you don't have to if you don't want to.
But
Go and
Go
see
watch the
Spider-Man.
animated.
Spider-Man's
Go watch-
still in cinemas.
Go watch the animated movie.
Yeah, go see Spider-Man. And what comes out next week? The new Wes Anderson film comes out this week.
And
Go see that.
Indiana Jones, isn't it?
Indiana Jones. Go save your money for Mission Impossible. Barbie, Oppenheimer. Go see something else that's slightly more ethical. And like nothing in this, like cameos and stuff like that, felt celebratory like they did in Spider-Man No Way Home, or like in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This felt.
It did kind of
corporate
seem
mandated.
like cameos for the sake of cameos.
Yeah, and it's just like people love cameos, so let's put all
It's
of the cameos in. It's like, okay.
Just quickly, it's the same with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. The weakest part of that film is the cameos. They just
You
not
can
necessary.
tell when Marvel directed it and when Sam Raimi directed it.
Yeah,
And it is literally the movie stops still for 10 minutes
because
and lets Marvel have a little wank fest.
Because I don't know if it was you or it was someone in the podcast who said, yeah, just have a row of Doctor Strange variants. Because this is a Doctor Strange. Yeah, this is a Doctor Strange film. But off topic.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, go make your mind up for yourself, and go see it if you want. It's a fun film, but yeah, there are problems with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
For real.
Hello from the spoiler section. I think I kind of talked myself into putting this down to a 5 out of 10. Anyway, before we go, does anyone want to sell me a movie or a TV show or a game or a music or a book if you're a nerd? Go on, Joe.
Joe's.
So, as you all know from the previous episode, we have mentioned that we're doing a tournament of our favourite films. And what I'm doing right now is catching up with the films that I haven't seen out of those lists. And one of them is Kill Bill. I haven't seen Volume 2 yet, but Kill Bill Volume 1, I had so much fun watching that. Like, everyone mentions Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards. No one mentions Kill Bill. That was so good. I've given it 5 stars. Like, me and Siwan watched it, we're like, why does no one talk about this film? It's so good. Like, everyone's kicking ass. And there's such a cool fight scene in the 3rd act. And it looks great. There's not as many feet shots as you'd expect. It's 33 minutes into you get your first feet shot. I counted. It's so good. Go watch Kill Bill Volume 1. And I haven't seen Volume 2 yet, but I'm expecting good things. So watch both parts.
I guess that's the issue when you have such a stellar track record of making excellent movies. That even ones that are as excellent as Kill Bill sort of end up being your lesser movies because you've made too many masterpieces.
Yeah.
Like Kill Bill for me, I fucking love Kill Bill, but it still ends up being like halfway down my list because I love everything else slightly more.
But it's just such an easy watch because it's just woman goes after people that wronged her. That's the film, and it's just such a fun watch.
I had, when I was 15, I did some work with Screenworks, and we were planning a film festival, and during that there was a woman who was the same age as me and would not shut up about Kill Bill and how cinematically it changed her life. and it has put me off watching Kill Bill permanently.
Have you not
I
seen
never
it?
want to never. Never have I ever laid my eyes on it unless
The-
I'm like watching Watch Mojo and it flashes as a clip. I have never
Hamish.
watched it, but she would not shut up about it about the entire week that I spent on the University of Sheffield's campus doing it, and she would not shut up about Kill Bill.
But it's so good.
But wasn't the
don't
message
care.
of this podcast that you shouldn't, like with The Flash, people are saying it's bad, but you should go make your mind up for yourself.
You know what? You're completely right. However, I've made my mind up for myself, and I've said, wow, Kill Bill, stop being crammed down my throat. But, at the same time, you're not doing that. You've been very respectful about it. Unlike that person who will remain nameless,
You can cut
who
it out.
has
What's her
driven
name?
me... No, I don't know it.
Oh.
Who's been... I just remember that she had a walking stick and had a thing for wanting to fuck Frankenstein.
The man or
The monster. The monster.
Just wanted to
She had a
clarify.
weird like obsession with monster movies and making her horny. But yeah, Kill Bill. I've been driven off
I'm
it. However,
deeply disturbed by what you just said, Hamish. I hope you know that.
I'd
I
like to
know.
move on from it.
moving swiftly on.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that
Um,
again.
I've got a recommendation. A better DC property to go watch.
Go for it.
Stargirl. Stargirl follows the TV series. Follows the Justice Society of America. Them having been active right through the Cold War, the 70s, the 60s. And they are now all dead or missing. And it is the descendants of the Justice Society of America, or in some cases some new faces, taking up their mantles and having to fight off the villains that brought down the Justice Society themselves. It has one of the best openings to a DC TV show / DC property of ever, in my opinion. It showcases the villains in a terrifying way. It has a banging cast. Go watch the first Go watch the first 15 minutes if you don't believe me, and try and tell me you're not hooked. Anyway.
Thank you, Hamish. I saw 2 movies in the space of 24 hours at the cinema this week. Both were preview screenings. One was an unknown one, and it ended up being Pixar's Elemental, which I will not talk about because there's not much to say. It was just fine. But the other one I saw was the new Jennifer Lawrence comedy, No Hard Feelings.
Ooh.
And I went to see it, and I really liked it. I think Jennifer Lawrence is obviously she's a movie star, and she's always sort of tried to flex her comedy chops where she can. She seems in real life a very funny person, and so this seems like a great vehicle for her. And it's a throwback to the naughty sex comedy. She's hired by this this teenager's parents to date their son for the summer and like sort of get him out of his shell and essentially have sex with him. And if she does, she gets a car for it. It's okay, very simple. And it's such a simple premise. There's not much story to it, but like it's elevated so much by the performances of mainly Jennifer Lawrence and the kid who he's not a kid. I keep calling him a kid. I'm sorry, but the guy who plays the teenager, Andrew Barth Feldman. They have great chemistry. He's so funny and she's so funny. Some really great comedic set pieces, and also like this is what happens. This movie is what happens when you put an Oscar-nominated actress in a sex comedy. You get like really funny moments and great set pieces, but you also have like really great dramatic beats. And like Jennifer Lawrence can act her damn heart out. There is a moment where she's listening to him play piano, and on her face you can see every single emotion and every single thought that's going through her head. And you're just like, you are incredible, miss. Yes, thank you very much. This is good movie.
This is good movie.
This is good movie. I think you guys would enjoy it, and also the main character, the main guy is just like Joe, and it's really adorable.
Is it?
So yeah, no, genuinely, it's you, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Joe. That's so cute. So if you're gonna go spend your money on a brand new movie this week, you've already seen Spider-Man. Don't go see The Flash. Go see this because if you don't go and see this, we don't get more movies like this, mid-budget comedies, and then all we get is superhero movies, and no one wants that because clearly the studios can't keep up with it. So yeah, no hard feelings. A solid movie, really fun.
Can I just end this episode by saying that Gran Turismo film was like utter crap?
It looks so bad.
Like, and they've one,
absolute
it looks
dog
crap.
shit.
Two, they've basically released the whole film in the trailer. And three,
Yeah.
how they've edited the dialogue in the trailer. It's like they've cut every single word out individually and placed them next to each other.
That looks abysmal, truly.
so
and the
bad.
fact that they keep trying to pump Neil Blomkamp's name on it like it's some sci-fi movie from the early 2010s. Like, nobody knows who Neil Blomkamp is anymore.
I don't know
Stop
who he
trying
is.
to sell it on him. He made District 9.
With the
Ever seen
prawn? With the
With
prawn?
the prawns. With the
The
prawns.
prawn
film.
people.
It's a good film.
It's a good movie. So yeah,
Oh, what
there
a
we go. I
downgrade.
guess that's the episode. Next week, what are we doing? I can't remember. You'll find out next week when we show it to you.
And
So,
when we decide what it is.
And when we decide what it is. Thank you so much to
Exactly.
everyone for listening. As I plugged up top, the YouTube channel is now properly like a go-go. Go ahead
Johnny,
over there,
go, go, go,
listen.
go.
If you want to listen to the podcast there and the cool visualizer, go check that out. Joe, thanks for being here. Where can the people find you?
Sorry. You could... Sorry, I'm dying.
You can find him in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith as
Yeah.
bloody General Grievous.
You can find me on Twitter at Cook11Joseph, where recently I've been moaning about the awful side of Doctor Who fans and how they should touch grass. You can find me on YouTube at Rebel Whovian. I haven't posted there in a while, but I might soon. Stay tuned. And you can find me on Instagram at JoeCook_digital_artist, where I post lots of digital artwork to do with Doctor Who and possibly some other stuff in the future.
Amazing. Thank you, Joe. We respect
Hee hee.
you and your terrible opinion about this movie.
Thank you.
Hamish, where can the people find you, bud?
You can find me on Instagram at Hamish2864. The numbers mean absolutely nothing. I just couldn't think of a username.
Boo.
And you can find me on Twitter at BeatenHamish, and you can also find me in your walls if you haven't taken your meds recently. Sander, where can the people find you?
Head on over to our Filmy Pod official Filmy Pod Instagram and Facebook. All the links are in the description, along with everything I've already mentioned. Joe makes wonderful posts every week, and now you can see them when you listen on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon, all those other places, and on the YouTube. So they're not just on Instagram, but if you want to see them first on Instagram, go over there, and you'll be able to see them there. Thank you so much to everyone for listening to our
Thank you.
ramblings about The Flash. I'm going to try and edit this together into something coherent. Next week, we don't know what we're doing. Sorry, we're bad at planning. But whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be good. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, do you want to see me do the podcast again? Do you want to see me do it again? So...
Who?